Good afternoon. My name is Michelle Marvin, and I'm beginning my 4th year on the Theology and Science track in the History and Philosophy of Science program. I'm very grateful to John Lubker and Julie Kessler and to all the members of the cohort for their commitment to sharing resources and their experiences and their time in order to make this incredible journey to learning about authentic leadership and the training and the development that's been possible this year. So prior to entering the Ethical Leaders in STEM program, one of the pieces of advice that was frequently being shared with me was, Michelle, you need to learn to say no more often. So I was, and I still am, a yes person. Usually if there's a request on my time or an opportunity, I say yes. But often there seems to be no choice in the matter. I can only say yes or face the consequences of saying no. Along with the pressure that I feel of letting others down. And yet saying yes seems to come with the consequence of stretching myself too thin and the guilt that's associated with feeling like I should be guarding my own time. So this dilemma sometimes seems irresolvable. Last summer, as the Ethical Leaders in STEM program began, we were given several books to read. One of those books was The Truth About Leadership by James Kouzes and Barry Posner. Its epilogue is titled, Leaders Say Yes. The conclusion of the epilogue states this: you have to say yes to begin things. You have to say yes to your beliefs. You have to say yes to big dreams. You have to say yes to difficult challenges. You have to say yes to collaboration. You have to say yes to trust. You have to say yes to learning. You have to say yes to setting the example, and you have to say yes to your heart. When you say yes, you will discover your own truth about leadership. So I thought a lot about this, because that's a lot of yeses. A lot of yeses where I'd heard for so long that I need to learn to say no. But what I've realized over the course of this year is that when you are firm in your yes, your no becomes a lot clearer. If I say yes to difficult challenges, this means that I'm going to be saying no to taking the easy way out of tasks that require perseverance. If I say yes to collaboration, that means that I'm going to say no to thinking that I can fix things on my own. I need to be a team player. In the terms of time management, if I've said yes to completing a task, that means I will say no to those tasks that take away from accomplishing what I've already said yes to. When I say yes to leadership, I need to say no to any challenges, whether internal or external, that will keep me from leading to the best of my ability. So just as I was finishing reading this book, I received a completely unexpected email from the church that I attend in Mishawaka, asking if I would be willing to lead a group of high school students on a week-long domestic missions trip. Now, I had never worked with these high school students, I had never traveled with this church, and I had never been on a domestic missions trip. Nonetheless, I had the opportunity to lead, and after a period of my own discernment, my answer was yes. While I could have held a schedule where I ran myself ragged with commitments up to the moment of departure, and then again starting the day of my return, I instead cleared my calendar for the few days before and after the trip so that I could be mentally, physically, and emotionally prepared to lead. The picture in the upper left corner is from the group that I worked with on that mission trip, where they provided a fun fair event to an impoverished inner-city group of children on a warm summer's day. The trip was an amazing experience for everyone, and a great deal of community service was provided. Over a year later, I still have high school students from that trip who look to me as their mentor. On the bottom left, there are 2 pictures from the practicum that I worked at over this year. This is Jimtown's junior high school Lego robotics team. The students build robots, they create the programs that run the machines, and also compete in tournaments where they put on skits in front of judges. My greatest role was in assisting for the preparation of the skits, helping students to improve their presentation and the performance aspects of their work. The students were proud of their accomplishments, and they grew as a team throughout the year. Watching the 2 team leaders at Jimtown, I was impressed with how well they empowered the high school students and the junior high students and the intermediate team with their own sense of ownership over their work, which I think is a true testament to leadership. Finally, in the picture on the right, which you've already seen before, you see some of the cohort from the ethical leaders in STEM who were available to come and learn to curl, which was great for developing our camaraderie. And I'd encourage you to do it this year with a new cohort. As I was putting this picture on the slide, I realized with disappointment that John is not in this picture. But then it struck me that there are no leaders in any of the pictures that are on the slide. And there's none from the mission strip, there's none from the LEGO robotics team, or from the EL STEM picture. I think this speaks volumes for the selflessness of the leadership models that I was witness to in my year as an Ethical Leaders of STEM fellow. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to reflect on their impact on me, which I hope will be my impact on others as well. My yes to leadership will allow the no's in other areas of my life to be clearer. It will help me in making choices regarding my priorities clearer. I wish there was a part 2, Ethical Leaders in STEM, the sequel. I feel there's so much more that we could learn and discuss and practice. But as John said in our last meeting, it is time to, quote, go out and make us proud, end quote. So the sequel will be putting these values and skills into action. It is time to say yes to leadership. Thank you.